We are live. Welcome, everybody. And let me know in the chat really quick if you can hear me, see me, all that kind of thing, just to be sure I'm not talking to dead air. That would be kind of comical, but not too cool. So let me know in the chat if you can see me, hear me, and we'll go from there. So today I want to talk about something super important, and that is the power of time leverage. I want to tell you the story of how I discovered this. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. And before I get started, I also want to just kind of give you all a shout out and let you know that I really appreciate all your kind words about my training. Hey, it's reciprocal. I love entrepreneurs. I love especially entrepreneurs who want to create online courses. So my love goes to you. Your love comes to me, and I think it's great. I just appreciate it very much. Um, it's exciting to be appreciated for for what I do, and I love what I do clearly. So thank you for that, and I really appreciate that. So let me get started with this, and I want to I want to shift some mindsets today, and the goal today is to shift your mindset a little bit in the positive way. Okay, I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially beginning entrepreneurs. They come up with a lot of reasons why they're not being successful, or they point to things, blame things, look at other things as to why they're not being successful. And it's a phase I think some people go through, or maybe we all go through. I don't know, but I would like to shift your mindset, and I feel like I can probably make the biggest difference in your life today by helping you shift that mindset. Okay. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the mindset. It's just that it's a mindset that comes from kind of the traditional school system and things like that. So let's take a look at this. When I was just starting out in life, I was in the financial services business, and suddenly I was surrounded by people who were making 300,000, 500,000, a million, 2 million a year. And when I was suddenly able to get to meet some of these people, I realized quite a few things that kind of shattered my myths, the myths that I had in my mind about what it takes to be successful in business. And the first thing I noticed was that some of these people were not super good looking. That shattered my myth that, oh, you have to be good looking in order to be successful or be rich. Okay. I know that sounds funny, but whenever you see somebody who's supposed to be rich on TV or in movies, they're usually good looking, right? Well, that's probably because they're just actors. But I realized very early on that it wasn't the smarts that made them wealthy. The tendency we have is to believe, oh, they're wealthy because they figured something out. They figured out how to be wealthy. They figured the magical formula that it takes, uh, to create wealth. And you know what I understood, and I realized that that's not it. It's not how smart you are. It's not your looks. And I also figured out it's not your connections. Sure, in some cases, connections can be valuable and they can really accelerate your growth. But in most cases, the way people got their start to becoming well off was not due to connections. I also figured out that it wasn't because they had a big chunk of money that they started with. Most successful entrepreneurs bootstrap their way to success. They didn't start off with a huge amount of money, right? And I also understood by looking at the landscape around me and look at the people that were successful, I'm like, wow, that person is not that smart, and yet they're making 300, 500,000 a year. Wow, that person doesn't look that, you know, that good looking or that beautiful or whatever, and yet they're making a big income. Wow, that person didn't start off with money, and yet they're making a big income. Wow, that person didn't have any connections to speak of, and yet they're making big money. And I thought, well, maybe it's time management, like how you manage your time, how you work your time. Because I noticed that everybody has the same amount of time in a given day, right? We all have the same 24 hours. And I realized, you know what? I could work as hard as I want in a given hour or set of 10 hours, and that still wouldn't make the difference. over time, I realized the power of something that I call time leverage. Time leverage just simply means using your time in a leveraged fashion. Now, the essence of this was in a book called The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Great book. I think it was a bestseller in sometime around the 90s. And in that book, Tim Ferriss outlined how he had built a very successful business and only worked a few hours a week. That helped me to understand that the key to success, or one of the biggest keys to success, I should say, because there's many keys, right? Was how you leverage your time, not how you use your time. See, using your time is still a one-to-one paradigm, right? I use 1 hour of my time, I invest 1 hour of my time to get 1 unit of return. That's the job mentality. That's the 9 to 5 mentality. That's the career mentality. I'm going to invest an hour of my time doing this work, and you're going to pay me X amount of dollars for that 1 hour, right? As an entrepreneur, your goal and should be to leverage that 1 hour. What does that mean? That means in that 1 hour that I invest in this time, I'm going to get back 10 or 50 or 100 times return on that 1 unit of time. Okay, let that sink in, because what I believe that successful entrepreneurs do is they become masters at leveraging time. They become masters at that. How? There's different ways, and I'm going to talk about a few ways that you can leverage time so that 1 unit of work, 1 unit of effort generates 50 or 100 times return on that 1 unit. So where, let's say on a job, you might get paid, I don't know, 25 bucks an hour, right? So you do 1 hour, you get paid $25. In a business that's leveraged in time, 1 hour might yield you $500 or $1,000. That's what we're aiming for, right? And what is one of the best ways to leverage your time? I'm going to start off with the best. I'm going to, usually we save the best for last, but I'm going to put the last first now. The best way to leverage your time is to create an online course. When I create an online course, every unit of time that I spent to create that course, let's just say an average course takes me about eight hours to create. Okay. So let's say one day, like one work day, right, to create an average course. We're talking about an hour and a half to 2.5 hour course. I invest 8 hours. I invest one day. But then I get to sell that course over and over and over again for days, weeks, months, years into the future. And it keeps paying me long after I created the course. That's an incredible use of time leverage, right? Because let's say that this course generates $3,000 for me. Or let me give you another example. Let's say that this course, because I did this a few months ago, created a course that generated $50,000 in sales. Okay. Now, not all that income came to me. It was a partnership between two other people and myself, and then there were also affiliate sales. But we all got a significant chunk of cash from that course, and we're still making money with that course. But in its first week, it made $50,000. So whatever amount of time I put in to make that course an amazing course, and I think in that one I probably invested, realistically invested about 15 hours to create that course, right? It paid off in, you could say, somebody's annual salary, like $50,000. That's some person's annual salary, right? So 15 hours created a year worth of income. That's what I call time leverage. Okay. That's time leverage. You happen to be in the best place to create time leverage. Creating an online course is one of the most leveraged ways to make money. Now, at the same time that you're making money, you're impacting the world in a positive way. That's why a lot of times when people say, oh, why is this expert, selling a course on how he or she makes money, why are they selling a course on this if their way of making money is so good? I come from the make money online world, right? So this is why I have this example. Why don't they just keep that knowledge to themselves? If their way of making money is so good, why don't they just go make that money that way and not share it with everybody, right? The reason is they understand the power of time leverage. They understand that all they had to do was put their knowledge into one course one time, and now they get paid for years and years and years. Their online course might actually be better than their main business that makes them money. You know, there's a famous real estate investor, real estate expert named Robert Allen, and he said, I made millions of dollars investing in real estate, but I made multi-millions of dollars teaching people how to invest in real estate. So there's a big mindset shift, I think, right here that's happening. And that is, yeah, you could go on and keep doing your business and making money that way. But if you start teaching your business, you can make so much more. Why? Because of the power of an online course to duplicate you, clone you out to the whole world. And that as you're impacting and transforming other people's lives, you're getting paid for that. So the online course is the number one way, or one of the best ways, in my opinion, to leverage your time. That's why I have so many of them, because I love the fact that every course that I create is an asset that throws off income. It's like having little pieces of digital real estate that throw off income, you know, at all hours of the day, day and night, not just once a month, but every day, all hours of the day. Now, another way to leverage your time is to joint venture. Okay. Joint venture simply means, hey, somebody has a missing element, an element that you're missing in your business. For some people, it's traffic. Now, you might be going, oh, okay, Dave, I just published my course on mastermind.com. What do I do next? Well, if you don't already have an audience for that course, meaning you don't already have an email list, you don't already have a Facebook group, an Instagram following, a YouTube channel with subscribers, no problem. You can joint venture with the person who does. You can partner with somebody who has that audience. They can interview you. You could talk about your course. You could talk about the strategies in your course, get people excited, give them a little teaser, and then they mention your course. You put a link in the bio, whether it's a YouTube channel or a podcast or wherever it is, right? And then they go over to mastermind.com and buy your course. Now, what you can do is you can just do it on the honor system, where, you know, if they at the end of the month, you could say, hey, here's how many courses we sold of this course. You could show them a screenshot, or you can log in and show them this how many courses we sold, and pay a 50% commission like that. That's a way to leverage your time. Why? Because instead of taking the time to build up your own email list and create your own audience and all that, if you don't already have one, right? You can partner with somebody who has the audience. Now, you're giving 50% of your money away, but it's no skin off your back because it's a digital product. It's 50% of money you would not have had without partnering with them, right? So there's no issue there. You're actually making more than if you were selling a physical product. But now you've got this way to connect with somebody who already has the audience, and you send them to your mastermind course, and then you just simply make the sales that way. Pay them 50%. Everybody's happy. You get to transform more lives and that kind of thing. Now, likewise, let's say you're the person who has the audience, right? You have, let's say, a YouTube following, YouTube subscribers, Instagram followers, a big email list. You have a following in your particular niche, but you're not necessarily the expert in that niche. You could joint venture with the expert to create a course and now offer that course to your audience, and same thing, 50-50, or whatever you want to create as a split. In the digital products world, if there's no additional coaching happening, then 50-50 is a very common split. But you can negotiate whatever works for you. Now, let's say that I had coaching as part of my course, right? Well, then that's going to be more manually intensive for me, meaning I'm going to be doing coaching. I'm going to be putting more of my time in, So in that case, I might negotiate a 25-75 split, 75% to me, because I'm doing coaching. It's not just a digital product, which is easily delivered. It's also coaching, which is more time intensive and things like that. So you work it out, however it works out for you. But the bottom line is, um, how we're leveraging time in that scenario is we're going, I don't have this, and that's an obstacle. Let's say I don't have traffic. I don't have people seeing my course. I'm not making sales right now of my course, but I know it's a great course. Okay. Who does have the traffic? Who does have the audience? Who does already have that, your people that need your course? Joint venture with them. You've just leveraged your time because you cut the time that it takes to build your audience. Maybe it might take you, a few months to a year to build a good audience, right? Well, you want to still be doing that, but instead of waiting that period of time, now you're joint venturing with somebody who already has the audience, and it works. All right. Another way to leverage your time is, let's say that you want to run ads to sell your course, right? Now, if you want to run ads to sell your course, you can do that, and you can sell your course, and there's an art and science to running ads and that kind of thing. But let's say that you're a little skittish about running ads. You don't maybe have the stomach to spend money or risk money of your own, but you know that that's your obstacle. You need to start running ads to drive traffic to your course. What if you get somebody to back you? What if you get an investor, a good friend of yours, or somebody who has the money and is not afraid to risk it, or they believe in your course, to back or pay the money for your ads for a period of time, just to get you ramped up, just to get you moving forward? That's an example of time leverage. You saw an obstacle, you figured out a way to get through that obstacle to your next step. And really, if you think about it, that's what entrepreneurship is all about, right? It's about seeing that next obstacle, pushing forward through that obstacle, around, over, under the obstacle to your next step. Another way to leverage time is to outsource some of your work. Now, here's an example. Let's say that you do some calculations and you realize, or you figure out, that your time is worth $100 an hour, okay, based on the income you're making in your business. So why are you still cutting your own grass? Or why are you still cleaning your own house? Or why are you still making your own food, for example? These are just examples to get you thinking, right? Why don't, if your time is worth $100 an hour, or you're making that, then you should be taking count of your time. Likewise, that you should be understanding the value of your time, and not giving that time to menial or lower value tasks, meaning tasks that either don't make you money or that take up valuable time that you could be doing in your business, right? Now, every one of us has, whether you are making $100 an hour right now or not, or whether you're making $1,000 an hour or not in your business, or if you're making $10 an hour, it doesn't matter. Every single one of us has a future value that is much greater than what we're making right now. So even if you're like, well, Dave, I only make 20 bucks an hour on my job, or I only make $10 an hour, whatever it is, right? The number is inconsequential. We need to start thinking 100, 200, 500 an hour. We need to start thinking that way, and start to position our life so that our time is best used in the best way, highest and best use way possible. And by doing that, we now create that future. We run into that future by starting to think that way first. It all begins in the mind, right? The mindset first, and then it happens in actuality. So be thinking, and start to be stingy with your time. Prioritize your time to say, okay, my most important things are, my family, maybe it's spiritual, and my time running my business, right? Prioritize your time, and then anything else that robs you of your time, like wasting time on social media or wasting time watching TV or whatever is your favorite time waster, you'll start to see those things as the kind of the, I'm using metaphorical terms, but you'll start to see those things as kind of the enemy of your future. These things are the enemy of your future, your already visualized future, where you're going. And when you start seeing your time that way, you're going to be so much more careful with how you use your time, and you're going to be looking more often at how to time leverage, how to leverage your time as much as possible. And one last way that I want to talk about is by hiring somebody. I've had a couple of experiences hiring people, and most of the time it's been either a part-time assistant or somebody who helped me with content distribution, and it's been amazing. Let me give you one example. Probably, gosh, about 10 years ago, I hired my web designer, and back then I was building websites for local businesses. And we were doing SEO, we were doing all kinds of things. We were doing Google Maps, Google search, Google SEO, and things like that. But the bottom line is, what was amazing was I would give my web designer, Richard, I would give him a task when I was done, at the office in the evening. And because he was in the Philippines, he'd be getting started when I went home from work. And he would be getting started, and he would work overnight while I was resting and sleeping and whatever. And then in the morning, he'd have a completed project, And so it was amazing because it was like I was able to work, quote unquote, 24 hours a day. I was time leveraging by giving him a task in the evening, and then he would do it overnight. And I was moving that much faster. I was moving at like twice the speed of me just working alone. So be thinking about those types of tasks that are more $10, $15 an hour tasks that you do right now, but you shouldn't be doing, because remember, our vision is 50, 100, 500 an hour, right? And more. Ultimately, when you leverage your time with an online course, be thinking of ways that you can bring on kind of a general virtual assistant. Sometimes it makes sense to find somebody local to you that you can kind of train, like a college kid. I once hired a college kid from Boise State University, and I was able to train him in how to distribute my content. I've got a YouTube channel, and my only task became create 15 videos every 2 weeks. So on a Saturday, I'd spend a couple hours creating 15 videos about online courses. Okay. And then what he would do is he would do everything else. He would make sure that video was transcribed, that it had a great thumbnail created from my web designer, who was now my graphic designer. He would make sure that my video was transcribed and put on my blog site. He would make sure that it was also distributed to multiple channels across the internet, all of that. And he did it for $10 an hour, because think about this. This was one of his first jobs. And what do most people do for their first jobs? Most people are doing like fast food, retail, things like that. He was a business and entrepreneur major. So having a fast food job on his resume would be okay. I mean, it would show that he got a job, but having my opportunity on his resume was so much better, right? Because he was actually getting real world experience in content distribution across multiple platforms. He was getting valuable experience from me. He was getting knowledge and training from me. In fact, a couple of times he went to his professor and he showed his professor some of the things he was learning from me, and his professor was blown away, right? So he is getting super valuable information, knowledge, training, life experience, and a great spot on his resume. Plus, he was making an income part-time, right? And also, he was able to work his own hours, work around his school schedule. So it was a great deal for him. It was a great deal for me. And what I'm trying to get to is that this was time leverage at its best, because I did what I do best, meaning I created 15 videos, gave him the raw videos, right? Upload to Dropbox, and then he did everything else. He made sure that each video went out every single day, scheduled, each video went out on its own day, pre-scheduled in YouTube. Each video had its thumbnail, each video had its description, each video got transcribed, put into a blog post on my website. All this stuff was done. Think about that. Imagine if all you did was published the content and just did the raw essence of it and then hand it off to somebody else to do all the rest of that stuff. That's time leverage, right? So to that extent, I want to encourage you to use time leverage in your business. Think of ways that you can use time leverage. Think of ways that, in my opinion, this is the essence of success in business. One of the biggest keys. Successful people are not necessarily smarter than you. They're not necessarily better looking than you. They don't necessarily have more connections than you. They didn't necessarily start with more money than you. They didn't have more time in a day than you. They mastered the art of time leverage. You think about somebody like Tony Robbins, who has, I don't know how many companies. He has mastered the art of time leverage. How? Well, he installs teams that then do all the work, right? He installs people in the right places. He probably has his inner circle of trusted people that work with him and that already know the drill to how to create this, how to build this, how to make things happen. So I hope that was helpful today. Using time leverage, I think, is one of the biggest success secrets that I can give you today. And the online course business is the ultimate way, in my opinion, to have a product. Your product actually leverages your time, right? I've said this a couple times in the past, but right now I have 789,000 students around the world in 184 countries taking my courses. Some percentage of them are taking my courses, but yet I'm here training and teaching you, helping you while I'm doing this, or while I'm shopping, or while I'm eating, or while I'm at church, or while I'm doing skateboarding, whatever it is I'm doing. These courses are teaching students and they're being sold and they're making me money. And all this impact is happening. All this transformation is happening. Why? Because I use the power of time leverage. I hope that was helpful for you. And I want to, again, one more time, I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being so kind to me and so, showing the love to me. I think it's been amazing. And I look forward to continuing to serve you and continuing to help you as we go forward. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you.